How does a guy who dies flat broke end up turning his kids into millionaires? That riddle starts with Ricky Nelson, the shy kid who lived on TV before reality shows were even a thing, and ends with a buried fortune almost nobody saw coming. A childhood trapped on camera. Picture third-grade homework scattered next to camera cables. In 1941, the Nelsons bought a mint green Cape Cod house on Camino Palmero in Los Angeles. It looks like suburbia, but step inside, and every ceiling has boom mic tracks, every wall hides extra outlets for hot lights. Mom, Harriet, and Dad, Ozzie, star in The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet, and they think, why hire child actors when we've got two real sons right here? At first, Hollywood pros played young David and Ricky, but the real boys nagged, let us try. In 1949, producers caved. Suddenly, Thursday nights felt like live family surveillance, except every warm hug was timed to a script, and casual dinner chats paused when someone flubbed a line. Ricky's allowance stayed tiny because Dad socked most earnings into family accounts for later. He was reading fan mail before he learned long division, yet he couldn't buy a soda without permission. Even birthdays felt weird. Blow out candles, then hold the pose so a camera operator could get a second angle. Only problem? The kid was already gasping for breath. Lifelong asthma meant he sometimes missed school to sit near a vaporizer, listening to distant playground shouts through an open window. But that wasn't the whole story. The first viral music trick. Ozzie noticed rock and roll knocking on the door and cooked up a move no one else had tried. Promote a single on primetime TV. On April 10, 1957, 17-year-old Ricky wrapped an episode by crooning Fats Domino's I'm Walkin'. 10 million viewers heard it instantly. Record stores opened the next morning to lines down the block. One Chicago clerk said they sold out in 15 minutes and wrote IOUs on brown bag scraps. The song flew past 1 million sales, and Ricky's first LP shot straight to #1. Yet the same kid who triggered a retail stampede still lived on a teenager's allowance. He couldn't splurge on a burger without clearing it with Dad. Meanwhile, magazines called him Dream Date of the Atomic Age, and radio stations spun his name every hour. Temptation was inevitable. Secret rebellion behind the smile. On camera? Polite, yes sir, no ma'am. Off camera? A caged lion. Asthma kept him indoors early on, so once freedom showed up, he grabbed it. He bought a cherry red Corvette, roared down Mulholland Drive at midnight, and grew Elvis-length sideburns just to annoy studio hairdressers. Romances sparked like summer fireworks. Beauty queen Marianne Gaba got a gold ring engraved Love, Rick. Then singer Lori Collins started co-writing late-night tunes with him. Paparazzi rarely caught a hint because Ozzie ran the show like the Pentagon. Public image was everything. The more Mom and Dad clamped down, the more Ricky wriggled free. And what happened next would shock everyone. Poor Little Fool makes chart history. 15-year-old fan Sharon Sheely mailed Ricky a demo called Poor Little Fool. He shrugged, DJs flipped. By August 1958, the track became the first ever #1 on Billboard's new Hot 100. 2 million sold, just like that. And every label suddenly wanted its own TV-friendly heartthrob. But behind the gold records, Ricky still couldn't buy a new guitar strap without Dad's okay. Hollywood, high life, and empty pockets. Big Hollywood studios smelled box office perfume. Director Howard Hawks cast Ricky alongside John Wayne and Dean Martin in Rio Bravo, 1959. Slick photos splashed across Life magazine. Ricky in $500 Italian suits beside a Jaguar XK140. Truth? Most of it sat on credit store. He raced from shoot to nightclub, shaking hands with Sinatra one night and surfing with the Beach Boys the next. The bank statements, though, were starting to groan. The Beatles blow up the old rules. Fast forward to February 9, 1964. The Beatles stomp onto the Ed Sullivan Show. American teen idols drop faster than yesterday's newspaper. Ricky refuses to fade quietly. He builds the Stone Canyon Band, blending pedal steel twang with rock crunch. He hires a 20-year-old bassist named Randy Meisner, yes, the future Eagle, and hits college campuses in a second-hand bus. Critics cheer the new sound. Crowds shrink from arenas to beer-sticky clubs. Paychecks follow suit. The Madison Square Garden disaster. October 15, 1971 should have been a victory lap, nostalgia concert at Madison Square Garden. He drops the boyish "yai," steps out as Rick Nelson in purple bell-bottoms, and kicks off with honky-tonk women. Fans expecting "Hello, Mary Lou" start booing. Some blame rowdy cops in the upper deck, but Rick feels the dagger. He retreats backstage, returns to finish under a cloud, and drives home sick at heart. At his kitchen table, he hammers out "Garden Party." Key line, "You can't please everyone, so you got to please yourself." The single hits number 6, goes gold, and earns a standing ovation from DJs who once wrote him off. Sadly, that was the final time his name cracked the top 10. Love, money, and a marriage on fire. Rewind to April 20th, 1963. Shotgun wedding to Kristen Harmon, pregnant, Hollywood royalty. The reception looked like a Variety cover shoot. Behind the cake stood a volcano of debt. They bounced between mansions, Bel Air, Palm Springs, even Errol Flynn's old hillside lair. Tuition, travel, racehorses, yes, really, stacked onto credit. By the late 1970s, Ricky played theme parks and county fairs just to keep insurance paid. Arguments went nuclear. Neighbors later recalled shattered glass and 2 a.m. sirens. In 1977, Kristen packed his clothes into a rental, stationed 2 Rams cheerleaders as moral support, and locked the main gate. 5 courtroom years and about $1 million in lawyer fees later, Rick, now single, owed $4,000 a month in child support and relied on nostalgia gigs to cover it. A risky plane and a final flight. Tour buses felt slow, so he gambled on a 1944 Douglas DC-3, once owned by Jerry Lou Lewis. He pictured private travel and lower costs. Mechanics pictured a flying antique with endless gremlins. September 1985, engine failure scrubbed a big Kentucky show. New Year's Eve promised $25,000 in Dallas, money he had to collect. The heater was still glitchy. He boarded anyway. At 5:14 p.m., smoke filled the cabin over Texas. Pilots cracked side windows for air, squinting against the wind chill. The plane clipped upon trees and exploded in a pasture near DeKalb. Both pilots crawled out. Everyone else, Ricky, fiancée Helen Blair, and 5 bandmates, perished. Age 45, gone. Debt, feuds, and a hidden treasure. Grief turned to shock when accountants tallied nearly $1 million in debt. Kristen, creditors, crash families, even a secret son, Eric Jude, lined up for a slice. No will? Perfect. Kristen filed to run the estate. Then brother David produced a 4-month-old will naming only the 4 kids, Tracy, Gunnar, Matthew, Sam, and himself as executor. Courtroom fireworks lit up Los Angeles. Here comes the twist. Buried in his 1950s contracts sat 5 magic words. Artist retains ownership of masters. Back then it looked like small print. In the Spotify era, it's a gold mine. The labels get called out. By 2011, royalty checks felt skimpy. The kids hired auditors who found digital sales counted as physical shipments, letting Capitol deduct fake costs like breakage fees, nonsense for an MP3. Lawsuit filed, Capitol settled in 2014, whispered to be 8 figures plus full audit rights. They weren't done. In 2020, the estate joined a class action accusing Sony of intercompany fees, meaning Sony charged itself phony expenses, then docked artists. Settlement? $12.7 million cash, and a permanent 36% boost on global streams.
One attorney joked, "Dad just gave us a raise from the grave." Rumors, vault tapes, and the royalty snowball. Industry gossips swear a Nashville vault holds 40 reels labeled Ricky Nelson Final Sessions, unfinished 1985 tracks with harmonies echoing early Eagles. Universal quietly digitized them. A deluxe box set could drop any day. Add the whispers of a docuseries probing newly found maintenance logs from the doomed DC-3, and every headline spikes streams another notch. Streaming math is wild. One TikTok meme can push an old tune into 50 million extra plays, pennies each, but millions total. That's why the Nelson estate now keeps a social media watcher on payroll, ready to pounce on viral moments. Where the money lands now. Gunnar and Matthew, who hit double platinum in 1990 with the band Nelson, still close shows by saying, "Dad's footing tonight's guitar string bill." Tracy, after winning her cancer fight, uses royalty income to fund advocacy work. Youngest brother Sam manages sync deals. Travelin' Man in a Netflix road trip flick, Hello Mary Lou in a Sprite ad, even a lo-fi remix license for a video game menu screen. And Eric Jude, once ignored, he quietly signed a 2018 settlement. Now a small check lands quarterly, proof that grudges can thaw when streaming numbers soar. The encore no one expected. So how does a kid who couldn't spend his own record money at 17 and who died owing cash at 45 end up making his children rich? Simple. Copyrights don't die. Every diner jukebox spin of Hello Mary Lou, every YouTube nostalgia binge of Garden Party, every lo-fi remix burned into a TikTok loop feeds coins into the Nelson account, hundreds of times a minute, day and night, worldwide. Ricky's stardom faded, his marriage imploded, and a faulty heater ended his life. Yet that one contract clause, artist keeps the masters, outlived divorce courts, tax liens, and even a fireball crash. It became the encore he never got to play on stage. So next time you hum one of his tunes, remember the hidden engine behind it. Asthma inhalers on set, a teenager's allowance locked in Dad's drawer, a heartbreak song that made chart history, a booing arena that burst a comeback anthem, and a dusty vault of masters still paying dividends. Somewhere, a Nelson heir is sipping coffee, checking streaming dashboards, and smiling at the lesson their dad left them. In show business, the spotlight fades, but the right paperwork can sing forever.